Swing plane, bat path. That's number 2 here as we talk today, episode 23 of the 4 pillar of cross functionality, the 4 pillars of hitting, first episode of 2023. Swing plane and bat path. What are your thoughts on that? That's my number 2. That's Jim's number 2 pillar of a successful swing of a successful hitter.
So I kept having to not mention it when we were talking about timing because I've always teach my hitters the reason why we care about swing plane is because your timing isn't going to be your anticipation of where you thought that pitch was going to be is going to be off. There's going to be times you're going to be a little bit late. There's going to be times you're going to be a little early. But when we create that, when we get on plane early, when we can stay on plane as long as we need to, now we're all of a sudden creating this opportunity to have a much larger point of entry for our bat to make contact with that ball. And not just the bat, but the sweet spot part of the bat to make contact with the ball.
Yeah.
And I taught a class coaching softball in my grad degree or coaching softball and baseball. And it was for individuals who are aspiring to be high school gym teachers. And it was essentially trying to equip them with a playbook to be able to go, if they needed to hire a baseball coach or softball coach, they could apply. And this guy said, he goes, why do we care about extension? Why do we care about any of this when all that really matters is hitting the ball, the point of contact? Why do you care about anything else? And it's a fair question if you've never played the game. If you've played the game, you understand like the ability to just time that up is not, you need that safety net again that I just talked about.
Yeah. So again, with swing plane, bat path, let's not forget too, that goes along with adjustability in the swing, having a good hand path and a good swing plane. In your opinion, what is a good swing plane? I mean, there's people out there who say, well, it's this, or to me, it's being on plane with the pitch. What I've learned from the great Jake Epstein, and of course, Cassie, I think you believe in this as well. It's having an adjustable swing, a flatter swing if the pitch is higher, and having a steeper swing plane if the pitch is lower. But it's about getting on plane with the pitch and being as adjustable as possible.
100%. And you know what's so funny? I've been saying for years, I was like, at what point is a hitter's arsenal of bats going to also look like a golf bag? I get it. Like I had a bat that I felt really comfortable with and I wanted that to be my bat, but maybe we're going to face a high rise ball pitcher and I need a bat that is going to help me stay on that flatter bat plane. That is maybe a little bit more handle or knob loaded so that I'm not dropping the barrel as much. And then when I face a slower drop ball pitcher or someone where I need to get my swing plane a little steeper, I'm going to go use my end loaded bat. You know what I mean? Like when are we going to maybe start to push to those adjustments as hitters? And again, I don't want to overcomplicate the game. I love the idea of like, sure, you need to get up there, have like confidence and vision. That works to an extent. At some point, it's going to turn into chess. And I'm waiting for hitters to catch up to the chess game that pitchers have been playing for a while.
And that goes back to swing plane, bat path, and again, having an approach, having a plan as well. I always say that if a hitter on a higher pitch, okay, I'm just going to talk, I guess I'll just talk in baseball terms. People get this confused a lot with a pitch that is looking like it's rising to the plate, right? You hear that, this pitch, it had that late life and that rise to it. It was on plane with the pitcher's arm slot. That's all it is. It's not a pitch that's really rising. It's on plane with the pitcher's arm slot and on plane with the pitcher on the mound. Now, I've always said that if a hitter fouls that pitch back, to me, it means that they're just cutting under the baseball a little bit and that their swing plane is a little bit off. Is that right? Correct?
I mean, yeah, we've said it's so funny. My dad asked me that one time. He goes, everyone always says when they foul it straight back, they're just on it. He goes, but that's the smallest piece of the ball that you could have hit. Yeah. And I've always said, I'm like, it meant like the timing was there, everything was there. Whereas if you foul it off in other directions, it's usually that your timing is off or you're, and I think this too, hand path versus barrel path is very different because you want okay. So when I think of bat path, right, we don't want to just have our bat come on a straight angle down and sweep across, right? There's certain, again, creating a safety net. I want my hand path to stay tight to my body. I want to create bat lag. I want to make sure that my tension in my hand is not so strong that I'm vacating that wrist position too soon and then kind of coming around the barrel, the way, or having the barrel come around the hands. The way the bat makes contact with the ball is important. And that's, again, why you train mechanics, why you have this very natural-esque swing to it. But it's also why the bat is designed the way it is. The bat is not a plank of wood. There's a smaller handle, a heavier barrel, you know what I mean? So the point of entry does become important, but I would agree with you. That means you're right on path. And it's funny because people have been talking about swing plane for a while. They just didn't realize it. When you foul 3 pitches off, high outside pitches off to the, I'm a lefty, so I would foul it off to the left side.
Sure.
My coach would look at me and be like, hit a ground ball to the shortstop. He didn't want me to actually do that, but he knew that little adjustment would end up being the line drive in the gap.
Yeah.
Or the home run over the opposite field wall, right? So we've been talking about it. We just have not put a tangible number to it for a while in baseball and softball.
Yeah, it's a cue, right? That was a cue
Correct.
for you, and that's why I didn't include on this list. I didn't include any real mechanics because somebody may say, "Hey, chop straight down to the baseball," right? Or chop straight down to the softball. They don't actually
Mhm.
mean do that, but it's a mental cue that then communicates to you physically. I'm sound like real scientific coach here today, and there you go. That's how the magic happens,
It's
right? But
100%. And you know what? If people get eaten alive on social media
yeah,
because they're talking to an athlete and they're like, that's not what is actually happening in the swing.
yeah,
A cue is an interpersonal relationship between the athlete and the coach. That's it. That coach is trying to get to know that athlete and trying to figure out what is going to work best for them. And if they need to think top half of the ball or completely swinging and missing over the ball in order to get the appropriate outcome, that's what's going to work for them. That doesn't mean they're needing to explain the exact biomechanics of the swing because that's not what's going to work for every athlete.